Representative Kyle Green is taking a leave of absence following his drunk driving arrest. State police arrested Green early yesterday morning after he crashed into a concrete barrier on the West Bank Expressway near Ames Boulevard. His children were in the vehicle at the time. Troopers say Green showed signs of impairment and refused a breathalyzer test at the scene. He was booked with first offense DWI and child endangerment. Green released a statement this evening saying, quote, "After careful prayer and reflection, I have informed the Speaker of the House that I will be taking a leave of absence from the House effective immediately. I humbly request your continued prayers and privacy for my family as I take important steps to focus on my mental health and rehabilitation," end quote there.